Think of people swiping through their streaming queue as being on autopilot, and when they land on Pulp Fiction, most of them think they know exactly what they're getting. A cool, stylish crime movie with great dialogue and shocking violence. But there's a single scene in this film, a scene that doesn't even feature the main characters, that has become one of the most quoted, analyzed, and emotionally devastating moments in cinema history. What I discovered will completely change how you see this movie, because while most people think Pulp Fiction is just a cool, non-linear crime story with snappy dialogue and shocking violence, there's actually a beating heart hidden beneath all that style. And that heart, it's in a scene about a watch. A gold watch that's been up someone's ass for 5 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just Christopher Walken telling a weird story about hiding a watch during the Vietnam War. But here's the thing that 99% of viewers miss. This scene isn't just a darkly comic interlude. It's the secret key that unlocks the entire emotional architecture of Pulp Fiction. It's the moment where Tarantino reveals what his film is actually about. And once you understand this, you'll never watch the movie the same way again. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the hidden structure that makes this scene work on multiple levels simultaneously. The sneaky psychological trick Tarantino uses to make you care about a character you barely know. And the secret reason why this scene about a watch is actually the emotional center of a film about hitmen, gangsters, and redemption. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into cinematic storytelling, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I break down the hidden psychology behind Tarantino movie scenes every single week. Let me give you some context that will blow your mind about how this scene almost didn't exist. During the production of Pulp Fiction, Tarantino was under immense pressure to cut the watch scene entirely. Studio executives thought it was too long, too weird, and completely unnecessary to the plot. They argued that the audience already understood Butch needed to retrieve his father's watch. Why waste 5 minutes of screen time on backstory? Harvey Weinstein himself reportedly wanted it gone, but Tarantino fought for it. He knew something the executives didn't. He understood that this scene wasn't about plot efficiency. It was about creating the emotional foundation that would make everything else in the film resonate on a deeper level. And he was right, because here's what's actually happening in this scene and why it changes everything. Let's start with the structure. The watch scene is a masterclass in nested storytelling. Stories within stories within stories. You have young Butch watching cartoons, interrupted by Captain Coons, who tells him about his father, who heard the story from his grandfather, who received the watch from his great-grandfather. 4 generations, 4 wars, 4 men who risked everything to pass down this object. This isn't just exposition. This is Tarantino building a mythology. He's taking a simple gold watch and transforming it into a sacred relic, imbued with the weight of history, sacrifice, and masculine legacy. But here's where it gets brilliant. Tarantino knows that if he just had someone say, "This watch is important," you wouldn't feel it. So instead, he does something counterintuitive. He makes the scene absurd. He has Christopher Walken deliver this deeply emotional story with the most bizarre, uncomfortable details possible. The watch hidden in a man's ass for 5 years. The dysentery. The explicit descriptions of where this watch has been. On the surface, it's darkly comic, almost grotesque. But underneath, it's devastating. This is the technique I call emotional camouflage. And it's something Tarantino uses throughout his work. He hides genuine emotion behind layers of style, violence, and dark humor. Because if he presented this scene straight, if it was just a somber, serious story about fathers and sons and sacrifice, your defenses would go up, you'd recognize it as a touching moment, and you'd emotionally prepare yourself. But by making it weird and uncomfortable and funny, Tarantino sneaks past your defenses. You're laughing at the absurdity, and then suddenly, without warning, you're feeling something real. Watch how Walken delivers the line. He'd be damned if any slope's gonna put their greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright. It's offensive. It's politically incorrect. It's delivered with Walken's signature bizarre intensity. But it's also a father's love. A father who died in a prison camp, whose last thoughts were of his son, who wanted to make sure his boy received this connection to his family's history. The comedy and the tragedy exist in the same moment, inseparable. And this is where the scene reveals Pulp Fiction's secret heart. Because what is this movie actually about? On the surface, it's about criminals, violence, and the random chaos of life. But look deeper. Every major storyline in Pulp Fiction is about characters trying to find or create meaning in a meaningless world. Vincent and Jules debate divine intervention after surviving a shooting. Mia and Vincent connect over the small moments that make life worth living. And Butch? Butch is a man trying to honor his father's legacy while surviving in a world that doesn't care about honor or legacy. The watch scene establishes that Butch comes from a lineage of men who kept their promises, who sacrificed for family, who believed in something beyond themselves. His great-grandfather carried that watch through World War I. His grandfather carried it through World War II. His father carried it through Vietnam. And each of them, in the most extreme circumstances imaginable, made sure that watch got passed down. They created meaning through that act of preservation. Now, contrast that with Butch's situation. He's a boxer who's been paid to throw a fight. He's being asked to betray his own integrity, to lie down, to give up. And in that context, the watch becomes more than just a family heirloom. It becomes a symbol of everything Butch is supposed to be, versus what he's being asked to become. Those men suffered and died to pass something down to him. And what is he doing? He's selling out. This is why Butch can't just let the watch go. It's not about the object itself. It's about what the object represents. A connection to men who refused to compromise, who kept their word even when it cost them everything. When Butch realizes he left the watch at his apartment, he's not just retrieving a possession. He's reclaiming his identity. He's choosing to be the kind of man his father and grandfather were, even if it means risking his life. And here's where Tarantino's genius really shines. He sets up this entire emotional framework in a scene that happens in the past, told to a child by a man we never see again about people who are already dead. It's the most indirect way possible to establish character motivation. But it works because it operates on your subconscious. You're not thinking, oh, this is character development. You're just absorbing this strange, funny, uncomfortable story. And then later, when Butch makes his choices, you understand them on an instinctual level. Let me break down the specific techniques Tarantino uses to make this scene so effective. First, he uses specificity to create authenticity. Notice how Captain Coons doesn't just say the watch was hidden. He tells you exactly where it was hidden, for how long, and what that experience was like. 5 long years, he wore this watch up his ass. That specificity makes the story feel real, even though it's absurd. The more specific your details, the more your audience believes you. Second, he uses contrast to amplify emotion. The scene cuts between young Butch, innocent and watching cartoons, and Captain Coons, this weathered warrior telling a story of unimaginable hardship. That visual and tonal contrast makes both elements more powerful. The innocence makes the horror more horrifying. The horror makes the innocence more precious. Third, he uses repetition to build mythology. The watch passes through 4 generations, 4 wars, 4 men. That repetition creates a sense of ritual, of something sacred being preserved. By the time Coons gives the watch to young Butch, it feels like he's passing on Excalibur, not just a timepiece. And fourth, he uses the unexpected to maintain attention. Just when you think you understand where the scene is going, Walken throws in another bizarre detail: the dysentery. the way his father died, the explicit description of the hiding place. These unexpected elements keep you engaged, keep you slightly off balance so you can't predict what's coming next. Now, before I reveal the deepest layer of this scene, the thing that makes it the absolute secret heart of Pulp Fiction, I want to make sure you're getting the most out of this channel. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you're already finding value in this breakdown, leave a comment below telling me what movie scene you want me to analyze next. Here's the thing that makes this scene the secret heart of Pulp Fiction. It's about the stories we tell ourselves to create meaning. Captain Coons is telling young Butch a story about his father, but he's also creating a narrative, shaping the raw facts of war and death and suffering into something that has purpose. He's giving Butch a story to live up to. And isn't that what all the characters in Pulp Fiction are doing? Jules interprets their survival as divine intervention, creating a story that gives his life new meaning. Vincent dismisses it as coincidence, refusing to see any larger narrative. Mia tells Vincent about her failed TV pilot, a story about a story even Marcellus Wallace, the most powerful character in the film, is ultimately just a man trying to maintain the story of his own authority. Tarantino understands that we are the stories we tell ourselves. Our identities are narratives we construct from the random events of our lives. And the watch scene makes this explicit. It shows us a story being passed down, being shaped, being given meaning through the telling. Young Butch receives not just a watch, but a narrative about who he is and where he comes from. This is why the scene changes everything. Because once you see that Pulp Fiction is about the stories we tell to create meaning, every other scene clicks into place. The film's non-linear structure isn't just a stylistic choice. It's a reflection of how we construct narratives from the chaos of experience. We don't live our lives in chronological order in our memories. We jump around. We connect moments that are separated by time. We create patterns and meanings that may not actually exist. The watch scene also establishes the film's central tension between honor and survival. Every character in Pulp Fiction faces a choice between doing what's right and doing what's safe. Jules chooses to walk away from the life. Vincent chooses to stay and dies for it. Butch chooses honor over safety when he goes back for Marcellus. And all of these choices echo back to those men who kept that watch safe through wars and prison camps, who chose honor even when it cost them everything. Now, let's talk about Christopher Walken's performance, because it's doing something incredibly sophisticated. Walken plays Captain Coons as slightly unhinged, almost alien in his mannerisms. He's clearly a man who's been broken by war and put back together wrong. But that brokenness makes his dedication to fulfilling his promise even more powerful. This man has been through hell. He's barely holding himself together, but he's here, delivering this watch to a child because he made a promise to a dying friend. That's the real story underneath the absurdity. It's about keeping promises. It's about honoring commitments even when no one would blame you for breaking them. Captain Coons could have kept that watch, sold it, thrown it away. No one would have known. But he didn't. He carried it out of Vietnam. He tracked down Butch's family and he delivered it. Because that's what you do. That's what it means to be a man in the world of this film. And this is why Butch's decision to go back for Marcellus is so important. In that moment, Butch becomes his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather. He's in a war zone, the pawn shop basement, and he makes the choice to risk everything to save someone, to keep a code of honor that the world says is obsolete. The watch has taught him what kind of man he needs to be. Here's something most people miss. The watch scene is the only time in the entire film where we see pure, uncomplicated love. Not romantic love, not sexual attraction, but the love of fathers for sons. The love that transcends death and suffering. In a film full of violence, betrayal, and moral ambiguity, This scene shows us something genuine. And that genuineness, hidden under layers of dark comedy and absurdity, is what gives the entire film its emotional weight. Tarantino knew that if he was going to make a film about criminals and violence, he needed to ground it in something real. He needed to show us that these characters, as flawed and violent as they are, come from somewhere. They have histories, families, legacies. They're not just cool guys with guns. They're human beings trying to figure out how to live with honor in a dishonorable world. The watch scene provides that grounding. It tells us that Butch isn't just a boxer or a criminal. He's a son, a grandson, a great-grandson. He's part of a lineage. And that lineage demands something of him. It demands that he be more than just a survivor. It demands that he be a man of honor. This is why the scene resonates so deeply, even with people who can't articulate why. On a subconscious level, we all understand the weight of legacy, the pressure of living up to the people who came before us. We all have our own versions of that gold watch. The expectations, the stories, the identities that were passed down to us. And we all face the choice Butch faces. Do we honor that legacy, or do we compromise it for safety and comfort? Tarantino makes that choice literal. Butch can stay away, stay safe, and lose the watch, lose his connection to his father and his past. Or he can risk everything to reclaim it. And when he makes that choice, when he walks back into danger to retrieve that watch, he's not just getting an object. He's reclaiming his identity. He's choosing to be the man his father wanted him to be. And that, ultimately, is what makes this scene the secret heart of Pulp Fiction. It's the moment where the film reveals its true subject, the struggle to maintain honor and meaning in a world that offers neither. It's about the stories we inherit and the stories we choose to live. It's about fathers and sons, sacrifice and legacy, and the things we carry with us, sometimes literally up our asses, because they connect us to something larger than ourselves. So the next time you watch Pulp Fiction, pay attention to that watch scene. Don't just laugh at the absurdity. Feel the weight of what's being passed down. Understand that this strange, uncomfortable, darkly funny scene is doing the emotional heavy lifting for the entire film. It's the moment where Tarantino shows his cards, where he reveals that underneath all the style and violence and cool dialogue, he's making a film about what it means to be a good man in a bad world. And that's why Butch's watch scene changes everything. It's not just a scene. It's the key that unlocks the entire film. It's the secret heart beating beneath the surface, pumping meaning and emotion through every frame that follows. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like button to help this video reach more film lovers, and drop a comment telling me what scene from what Tarantino movie you want me to analyze next. I'll see you in the next one.